Welcome. We're calling this video The Importance of Yearbook, or maybe we just call it The Why of Yearbook. All right, now depending on when you're watching this, might be, the start of a new year and so on. Why are we doing this? All right, I've got to believe there's some people in the room, maybe some newbies, you're all asking, why are we doing this? And in the 25 years that I was a yearbook rep and traveling to many, many, many schools, if I had asked that question, which I did in a lot of schools, the response is probably more like, well, we always do this. Well, we have to do this. Well, we've been doing it for years, so now we have to do it this year. Okay, those are all correct answers, but it's not really the why that we are doing a yearbook. Why are we creating this item? Uh, this might sound a little harsh, especially maybe for students watching, but most folks really don't understand the importance of this project. What you're doing here this school year is really, really important. And I'm going to show you why right now. It's right here. All right. Now, yeah, kind of skinny. All right, not very big. This is my father's 1943 high school yearbook. And we'll show some clips as we're doing this. Um, didn't even see this until after he passed away, which was back in 2000, when my siblings and I were going through his things, and we came across this. And my siblings both said, "You want this?" I said, "Are you kidding?" Absolutely. This is an amazing book. Now you can see it's not very big. All right, pretty simple cover. It's got black and white printing, no color at all, kind of skinny. My dad went to a rural high school. And if you go back to the 1930s, 40s, the 50s, seemingly, especially in rural areas, like every town had their own high school. And then later on, at some point, those schools started to combine into school districts. Now, maybe that's your particular situation, wherever it is you live. But back in the 30s, 40s, every little town essentially had their own high school, and this was my dad's, okay? And there's a lot of very interesting information in here, like your yearbook, okay? Small school, again, a lot of folks. The basic stuff, senior section, underclassmen, sports, activities. There's even an advertising section in the back of the book, all right? Even that is in, all right? That goes way, way, way back. And it's very simple designs. Nobody was using computers back then. Are you kidding? Digital cameras? No. Film cameras. If you don't know what a film camera is, do a web search, all right? You'll find it. Film camera. All right. Your book that you're creating this year is just like this one. Why is this important? Well, I mentioned that my dad passed away back in 2000. Too soon, in my opinion. So I can't go talk to him. I can't ask him questions anymore. The only thing I have that shows me what life was like when my dad was in high school is right here. Now, hopefully you paid attention in history class, all right? 1943, right smack in the middle of World War II. Things were crazy at that time, all over the world and in our country, in the US, in Canada, and so on. Crazy stuff. My dad actually was an only child, so he couldn't get drafted. Military has rules about that. I suppose maybe I'm a little thankful about that, kind of crazy. But this shows me what life was like back then, how people dressed, how they looked, hairstyles. One interesting thing in the senior section here, they have little write-ups for every senior. And apparently their tradition back then, what they did was they asked every senior, what is your height and weight? And they printed it on pages. Now, when I've shown this, especially to girls, they freak out like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Nope, that's what they did. I don't know, maybe for your book this year, maybe you'd like to consider height and weight or not. It's totally up to you. But that's the importance of this book. This book tells me things that I can't find out right now. I can't go talk to my dad. What was it like in his town? What did people do? What hobbies did he have? What clubs was he involved with? This is it. Your book is the same thing. A number of years ago, I made a sign and passed it out to people, and maybe I should do that again. The sign has a very simple question, and the question is just, what do we want people to remember 30 years from now? Now, I don't care where you're watching this video, where, small town, big city, whatever. Wherever you are is going to be different 30 years from now. Businesses will be different. Some will open, some will close. People will move in, people will move out. All sorts of stuff. Will your school be open in 30 years? Depending on where you are in the country, the answer to that question might be no. And so the idea is with your yearbook this year, we need to put all the details we can possibly fit in there about this year, your school, your town, the people in your school, as much information as we can include in there. Because 30 years from now, 40, 50, well, this book, do the math, 1943. That's how I find out what was life like for my dad when he was in school. And so eventually you'll have kids, grandkids, all that stuff. They're going to look at your yearbook and say, what was life like then when my dad or my grandma or whatever was back in high school or middle school or elementary school? It's really that important. Please treat this project with that importance every single day you walk in and you start working on it, because it really is important. Okay, one more question. Are you going to do the same book this year that you did last year? Now, before he's like, no, 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 I'm not doing that. Trust me, I've asked that question many times over the years. No, no, no. And by the time the year is over and I look at their new book, it pretty much looks like last year's book. All right. I mean, the layouts, the organization, everything. Maybe swap out the pictures and it looks the same. Think about it. This school year is unique. It will be unlike any other school year you've ever had. Last year, next year, 2 years from now, and so on. Always remember that. Your book should somehow be different every year. The information different, the pictures different, the activities different, what happens different, the news was different. So as you're working on this book, once again, the importance of this project, you are the reporters for this year. The people are counting on to remember all the great stuff, as much stuff as you can put in there. And so please take this job seriously because it's that important. All right, let's do a quick student activity. All right, as we're wrapping up here, hopefully you're with a group. Around the group or around the room and so on, how will your yearbook this year be different from last year? And don't be vague, maybe be specific. And it could be stories you want to tell this year. It could be how you design the book, how you organize the book. How will this year's book be different from last year's effort? Let's talk that through. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.